Echoes from the Golden Age tell us this sequel almost didn't happen at all, stalled for years by a legal feud, and only revived when one man convinced a producer to spend $10 million buying back the rights to a story he didn't even own. Schwarzenegger had to push James Cameron to make this film, and rights disputes with the original producers stalled it for years. A pop star was nearly cast as the villain. A young actor with zero acting experience was discovered leaning against a chain-link fence. And stick around for number 1, because what this film did to special effects technology cost more than the entire budget of the original movie, for just 5 minutes of footage. Number 10. Schwarzenegger personally convinced a producer to spend $10 million buying the rights back. After the Terminator's surprise box office success, Schwarzenegger pushed Cameron to make a sequel, but rights disputes with the original producers at Hemdale Film Corporation, plus Cameron's own lack of interest, stalled it for years. Mario Kassar's Carolco Pictures wanted to make the sequel, and Schwarzenegger convinced Kassar to buy the rights no matter the cost. After Kassar's $10 million purchase, he still had to convince Cameron to actually direct it. Cameron wasn't interested until Kassar offered him a $6 million payday, at which point he and William Wisher wrote the entire draft in 7 weeks. Money got the rights, money got the director, 7 weeks got the script. Number 9. A rock idol almost played the T-1000. In a 2021 retrospective, Cameron admitted that singer Billy Idol had an interesting aesthetic for the role, but in hindsight, he probably wouldn't have cast him. Singer Blackie Lawless of the rock band WASP was also considered but deemed too tall. The villain who'd go on to define liquid metal menace for an entire generation of moviegoers was at one point a casting choice between 2 rock musicians. Number 8. A kid with no acting experience beat out hundreds of others. Furlong, among hundreds of other prospects, secured the role of young John Connor at his last audition. Cameron believed early candidates were either overexposed in other media or came from advertising backgrounds that trained them to be happy and perky, the opposite of what he needed. Casting director Molly Finn discovered him leaning against a chain-link fence at the Pasadena Boys Club. He was then required to take acting lessons, learn Spanish, and learn to ride a motorcycle and repair guns, all from scratch. Charlie Corosmo had actually been offered the role first, but was contractually tied up filming What About Bob? A boy with no resume, discovered against a fence, ended up turning down lessons in nothing, because before this film, he had none. Number 7. The cyborg trained like one. Robert Patrick undertook a rigorous running regime and practiced breathing only through his nose in order to appear to be a cyborg that could run at high speeds without showing fatigue. He had trained so hard that he was able to catch up to Edward Furlong. That's a man physically training his own body to move like a machine well enough to outrun a motorcycle on foot. Before we keep going, quick question for you. How old were you the first time you saw the T-1000 walk through fire and reform itself? And did it scare you the way it scared everyone else? Drop it in the comments. Number 6. Hamilton actually learned to pick a lock with a paperclip. In the asylum escape scene, Sarah Connor fakes a freakout and steals a paperclip to pick her own cell door, a trick Linda Hamilton genuinely learned how to do for real, not as a simple camera trick. Critics generally agreed Hamilton portrayed a fierce female hero with an impressive physique that let her outshine even Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley from Cameron's own Aliens. The actress wasn't faking the skill. She actually learned how to break out of a locked door just in case the camera needed it more than once. Number 5. The director fell in love with his own lead actress. Cameron and Hamilton began a romantic relationship in 1991, married in 1997, and later divorced. Several members of the production believed Cameron's relationship with young Edward Furlong actually softened the director's famously maniacal intensity on set. Hamilton herself said, "You can't be angry and demanding with someone who knows you like Eddie. It's good to realize that you can't scare a performance out of people." A film about a machine learning to value human life was being shaped, off-camera, by a director quietly learning the same lesson from a child actor and the woman he'd go on to marry. Number 4. The real-life effect was inspired by Mercury, because Mercury doesn't look real. Effects supervisor Gene Warren Jr. explained that Cameron picked Mercury as the visual basis for the T-1000 specifically because Mercury doesn't actually look real in real life, meaning audiences would accept a digital recreation of it more easily than something genuinely familiar. To pull it off, ILM had to expand their digital effects team from just 6 people to 35. The most convincing special effect in the film was built around something that already looks fake in nature. Number 3. 3 different finger blades were built just for one eye stab. For the blade going into the eye, the effects team built 3 separate hand and blade rigid props, one with a short blade, one medium, one long, and shot each one separately, almost like stop motion. ILM then morphed between each version digitally so it would appear the blade was growing in real time on screen. A single half-second image you barely register required 3 physical props, a stop-motion shooting technique, and a digital morph just to sell the illusion of something growing. Number 2. Splitting the villain's head open took 2 entire puppets. For the moment the Terminator shoots the T-1000 point blank in the head, Stan Winston's studio built 2 separate articulated puppets for what they internally called the splash head effect, sculpting Robert Patrick's face in clay, splitting it down the middle, then building a foam rubber puppet with a hinged fiberglass core that could spring open with a single pin. A more detailed second puppet featured independently working eye mechanisms on either side of the split face. 2 sculpted puppets, a hinged mechanical skull, and independently moving eyes, for a single gunshot that lasts less than 2 seconds on screen. Number 1. 5 minutes of footage, cost as much as the entire first movie. ILM's Dennis Muren spent about the entire budget of the original 1984 Terminator just to accomplish the new CGI in this sequel, and it amounts to roughly 5 minutes of footage in the finished film. It became the first use of a computer-generated main character in a blockbuster film, and the advanced visual effects caused such a schedule overrun that theatrical prints weren't even delivered to cinemas until the night before its July 3, 1991 release. Fox? Think about that math. An entire feature film's worth of money spent on 5 minutes of liquid metal. It went on to earn between $519 and $521 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film of 1991. A producer who spent $10 million just to buy back the rights. A rock star considered for the villain. A boy with no acting experience discovered against a fence. A director falling in love with his own leading lady while shaping the most expensive 5 minutes of footage anyone had ever attempted. Every single risk this production took, financial, muckins, technical, personal, paid back in full, and then some. That is Terminator 2, Judgment Day. The echo fades. Tell us in the comments which facts surprised you most, and we'll see you in the next one.